a nightmare. Ukraine will become a state after the war, and Russia will take 43% of the Ukraine territory, and the CIA prophecy about this. Russian forces to keep Crimea and territory from 8 other Ukrainian provinces, say U.S. political scientists. The American political scientist John Mearsheimer, belonging to the School of Realism in International Relations, advances a very nightmarish prediction for the future of Ukraine, who argues that after the end of the war, it will be nothing more than a state that will have approximately half of the lands it had before the beginning of the Russian invasion. In his statement to the Hong Kong newspaper South China Morning Post, Mearsheimer estimates that Ukraine will be a non-functional, crippled state that will in no way meet the criteria for joining the EU or even NATO. The Russians own 43% of Ukraine. The Russians will not conquer all of Ukraine, but Ukraine will lose large swaths of territory, he says. The Russians want to conquer more than the 23% they already own. My prediction is that they will take about 43% of Ukraine. They'll end up conquering the Crimea Peninsula and 8 different regions, and that will represent a really large part of the territory, which is actually close to half, the American political scientists argued. Non-functioning state. What will be left of Ukraine will be a dysfunctional stub state, unable to wage a major war against Russia. Also, it will not meet the criteria for joining the European Union and NATO, argued Mearsheimer, who emphasized that he sees no prospects for a peaceful settlement of the Ukrainian crisis. And this, he said, is because neither side is willing and will not make territorial concessions. And Mearsheimer said, so the conflict is likely to reach a frozen state sooner or later. The CIA prophecy. The U.S. Secret Service, the CIA, predict that in a few weeks the Ukrainian brigades will have been crushed, and then there will be 2 options for the Ukrainians. Either they will lose Odessa as well, or they will capitulate. The situation on the front shows that the armed forces of Ukraine may suffer a complete defeat in the near future, former CIA official R. McGovern said in an interview. From a strategic point of view, the reality is that Ukraine is on the verge of capitulation. In a few weeks, this will become obvious to everyone, he stressed. According to the expert, the Ukrainian regime should think about negotiations with Russia in order to avoid more serious consequences for Ukraine. McGovern is convinced that, if necessary, Russian forces can cross the Dnieper River without hindrance to go to Odessa and occupy the southern Ukrainian city. McGregor, a U.S. colonel, says instead of Russia being weakened, has super weapons. Russia has built a formidable military with advanced weapons because of U.S. President Biden's aggressive expansionist policies in Eastern Europe. Former Pentagon advisor Colonel McGregor said, the goal of destroying Russia was foolish. Now we have no ammunition and no army to send to Ukraine. Russia, on the other hand, has 300,000 people in reserve ready to attack. We don't have anything like that, noted the expert. The officer recalled that the Russian army has become a powerful strike force with a large number of modern weapons and almost a million soldiers. And McGovern said, we have not even come close to such results. They will take months to catch up with them, believes the colonel. And according to McGregor, Russia is fighting in Ukraine because this country is in the sphere of its vital interests, while the United States has nothing to do in this region, only geostrategic games. This is from Banking News, and I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.